Maya Chen pressed her forehead against the cool glass of her office window, watching the Seattle skyline blur through exhausted eyes. The digital clock on her laptop read 11:47 p.m., but she barely registered the time anymore. For the past 3 months, her life had been consumed by a single goal: landing the senior marketing director position at Zenith Tech. 80-hour weeks had become her norm. Takeout containers had replaced home-cooked meals, and her social life had withered to nothing more than hurried text exchanges. But tomorrow, it would all be worth it. Tomorrow, she would finally board that flight to Sydney, her reward to herself for months of relentless dedication. The Australia trip had been planned down to the last detail: the beachfront hotel in Bondi, the Blue Mountains hiking tour, the wine tasting in Hunter Valley. She'd even splurged on business class tickets, something she'd never done before but felt she deserved after the promotion came through. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Can't believe you're finally escaping. Living vicariously through your Insta stories already." Maya smiled, thinking of her best friend since their freshman year at University of Washington. Sarah had been there through every career milestone, every relationship drama, every moment of self-doubt. If anyone understood how much this trip meant to Maya, it was Sarah. Another text, this time from Jake. "Proud of you, babe. You've earned this. Can't wait to see all those sunset photos." Jake Martinez had been in her life for 3 years now, a freelance photographer with an easy smile and an Instagram feed full of golden hour portraits. Their relationship had weathered Maya's recent work obsession better than most would have, though she knew she owed him quality time when she returned from Australia. Maya finally shut her laptop and gathered her things. 24 hours until takeoff, she could practically feel the Australian sun on her skin already. The intersection of Pine and 4th Street was unusually quiet for a Thursday night. Maya hummed along to the radio as she waited for the light to change, her mind already drifting to koalas and kangaroos. The green arrow appeared, and she began her left turn. She never saw the pickup truck running the red light. The impact sent her Honda Civic spinning across the intersection like a discarded toy. Glass exploded inward as metal crumpled and twisted. The world went silent, then erupted in a symphony of car alarms and shouting voices. Maya drifted in and out of consciousness as paramedics worked around her. Through the haze of pain and shock, she caught fragments of conversation: broken ribs, possible internal bleeding, concussion protocol. The hospital room was sterile white when she finally came to, her body wrapped in a constellation of wires and tubes. Patel, a kind-faced woman in her 50s, explained the damage with clinical precision: 3 broken ribs, a moderate concussion, internal bruising that would require monitoring, and enough cuts and scrapes to make her look like she'd wrestled with a cheese grater. "You're very lucky," Dr. Patel said. "It could have been much worse, but you'll need to stay here for at least a week, possibly 2. Full recovery will take 6 to 8 weeks minimum." Maya's heart sank as the reality hit her. Australia, her dream trip, the non-refundable tickets, the hotel reservations, the carefully planned itinerary, all of it slipping away like sand through her fingers. With shaking hands, she reached for her phone and dialed Sarah's number. "Maya, oh my God, are you okay? I just saw the news report about the accident on Pine Street." And Sarah, Maya's voice cracked. "I'm in the hospital. I can't go to Australia." The line went quiet, except for the sound of Sarah's sharp intake of breath. "Jesus, Maya, how bad is it? What do you need?" "I'm coming right over." But even as Sarah spoke the right words, something in her tone felt distant, distracted. Maya pushed the thought away. She was concussed after all. Her perception couldn't be trusted right now. Jake's reaction was similar: immediate concern followed by an odd pause that Maya couldn't quite interpret. "Don't worry about anything, babe," he said. "Just focus on getting better. Everything else can wait." As Maya hung up the phone, she stared at the ceiling tiles and tried not to think about the empty airplane seat that would bear her name tomorrow, or the hotel room in Sydney that would remain unoccupied, or the dream vacation that had just become another casualty of bad timing and drunk driver. She had no idea that her worst betrayal was yet to come. The first red flag came disguised as kindness. Sarah arrived at the hospital the next morning, with coffee and croissants, but her eyes kept darting to her phone. She stayed for exactly 43 minutes, Maya had counted, hoping for longer, before claiming she had an urgent work thing that couldn't wait. "I'll be back tonight," Sarah promised, but she didn't come back that night. Or the next. Jake's visit was even stranger. He seemed nervous, fidgeting with his camera strap, and asking odd questions about Maya's recovery timeline. When she mentioned that her travel insurance might not cover the full cost of the trip cancellation, he quickly changed the subject. "Don't stress about money right now," he said, kissing her forehead with what felt like guilt rather than affection. "Just focus on healing." By day 3, Maya's confusion had crystallized into something sharper. Both Sarah and Jake had become masters of the apologetic text message. "So sorry, crazy day at work, and wish I could visit but I'm swamped." But their absence felt deliberate rather than circumstantial. The truth arrived in the form of Alex Nguyen, a mutual friend from college, who'd always been refreshingly direct. He walked into Maya's hospital room, carrying flowers and wearing an expression of barely contained outrage. "I can't believe them," he said, without preamble, setting the bouquet on her bedside table with more force than necessary. Maya blinked at him, confused. "Can't believe who?" Alex's face went through a series of complicated expressions before settling on resignation. "Oh shit. You don't know." "Know what?" Maya struggled to sit up straighter, ignoring the sharp protest from her ribs. Alex pulled up a chair, his usual easy demeanor replaced by something grim. "Maya, I'm so sorry. I assumed you knew and were okay with it." "Alex, you're scaring me." "What are you talking about?" He pulled out his phone, scrolled for a moment, then turned the screen toward her. It was Sarah's Instagram story from that morning, a photo of boarding passes and passports with the caption, "Sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. Last-minute adventure to Australia." Maya stared at the screen, her brain refusing to process what she was seeing. Those weren't just any boarding passes. The flight number was familiar. The departure time matched her own cancelled reservation. "Tell me this isn't what I think it is," she whispered. Alex's expression grew darker. "It gets worse. Look at Jake's story." He swiped to another account. Jake had posted a photo of himself and Sarah at the airport gate. Sarah leaning into him with a bright smile. The caption read, "When life gives you unexpected opportunities, you take them. Thanks to the universe for this amazing chance. Australia, here we come. Couple goals." Maya felt something cold and sharp unfold in her chest. "How long have they been planning this?" Alex hesitated. "I overheard them talking about it 2 days ago at the coffee shop." Sarah said something about Maya would want someone to use the trip rather than let it go to waste. Jake agreed that it would be financially irresponsible to let everything get cancelled. "They're using my reservations. Maya, my hotel room, my tours, my fucking business class seat." Her voice was rising, and a nurse glanced through the doorway with concern. Alex nodded miserably. "I thought you'd given them permission." "I swear if I'd known they were doing this behind your back." Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Jake. "Hope you're feeling better today. Getting some great shots for the portfolio. Australia is incredible. Wish you were here." The casual cruelty of it, the exclamation points, the heart emoji, the performative wish that she was there while he was literally living her dream, made her stomach turn. Another buzz, this time from Sarah. "Missing you. This trip is exactly what I needed after all the stress lately. The universe really does provide, sending healing vibes." Maya read the messages again, then again, searching for any hint of guilt or acknowledgement of what they'd done. Instead, she found only the bright, empty language of social media, all surface, no substance. "There's more," Alex said quietly. "I did some digging after I realized what was happening. They've been planning this for at least a week. I found old group chat messages where they were discussing backup plans in case your work trip got cancelled." "Work trip?" Maya's voice came out as a croak. "That's what they've been calling it. Sarah told people you were going to Australia for work, not pleasure. That way when they took your place, it seemed like they were just taking advantage of a cancelled business trip, not stealing your dream vacation." The room spun slightly, though Maya couldn't tell if it was from the concussion or the magnitude of the betrayal. Her best friend and her boyfriend had not only stolen her trip, but had rewritten the narrative to make themselves look opportunistic rather than cruel. Her phone buzzed again, a text from Jake. "Our happiness comes first. You'd understand if you could see how much we needed this. You'd do the same thing. Love you." Maya stared at the message until the words blurred together. Our happiness comes first, as if her pain and loss were just acceptable casualties in their pursuit of joy. As if 3 years of relationship and 8 years of friendship meant nothing compared to their desire for an Instagram-worthy vacation. Alex reached over and gently took the phone from her trembling hands. I'm so sorry, Maya, this is fucked up beyond belief. But Maya wasn't listening anymore. Something was crystallizing in her mind, sharp and cold and absolutely clear. They thought she was weak, they thought she was helpless, they thought she would just accept this betrayal and move on because that's what nice girls do. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Alex, she said, her voice steadier than it had been all week. I need you to do me a favor. Maya's hospital room transformed into a war room over the following days. What had started as a request for Alex to screenshot Sarah and Jake's social media posts had evolved into something far more comprehensive. Maya approached her revenge with the same methodical precision that had earned her the promotion at Zenith Tech. You're scaring me a little, Alex admitted on day 5, watching Maya organize printed screenshots into neat piles on her hospital bed. This is thorough. Maya looked up from her laptop, where she had 17 browser tabs open and a spreadsheet that would make a forensic accountant weep with joy. They planned this for over a week while I was bleeding in a hospital bed. Thorough is the least they deserve. She'd spent her recovery time learning everything there was to know about Sarah Mitchell's carefully curated online empire. Sarah had 807,000 Instagram followers who believed they were watching an authentic lifestyle influencer, someone who promoted genuine connections, loyalty and friendship, and living your truth. Her bio read, "Authentic living real friendships matter, spreading love and light." The irony was so thick Maya could taste it. Sarah's brand was built on relatability and trustworthiness. She had sponsorship deals with 3 major wellness companies, a meditation app, and a sustainable fashion brand. Her engagement rate was impressive because her followers genuinely believed in her message about the importance of authentic relationships. Look at this, Maya said, showing Alex a series of Sarah's posts from the past 6 months. She's built her entire brand around being the friend everyone wishes they had. Girls who support girls, friendship is everything. Your tribe is your vibe. It's all. Jake's professional vulnerability was different but equally exploitable. His photography business, Luminous Lens Studios, was struggling to break into the high-end wedding market. He'd been working primarily with budget-conscious couples, but Maya knew he dreamed of photographing society weddings and celebrity events. His reputation was everything in an industry built on word-of-mouth recommendation. Maya had created a detailed dossier on both of them, complete with contact information for Sarah's sponsors, Jake's potential wedding clients, and a comprehensive list of their mutual friends and professional contacts. They're using my Australia reservations to create content, Maya explained, pulling up Sarah's latest posts. Look at this caption. Sometimes the universe conspires to give you exactly what you need when you need it most. Jake and I have been working so hard lately, and this spontaneous trip felt like a gift from above. Alex read over her shoulder and made a disgusted noise. A gift from above, more like a gift from your hospital bed. And Jake's been tagging wedding venues and photographers in Sydney, networking while he's there. He's literally building his business on my stolen vacation. Maya's voice was clinical, detached. They're monetizing my misfortune. She'd discovered that they'd managed to transfer not just her flights, but her entire itinerary. The boutique hotel in Bondi Beach, the Blue Mountains tour, the wine tasting in Hunter Valley. All of it was being experienced by the 2 people who should have been comforting her through the worst week of her life. Maya opened a new browser tab and showed Alex the fake Instagram account she'd created, Aussie Wanderer 20. I've been monitoring their trip in real time. They have no idea I can see everything they're doing. The account looked authentic enough, stock photos of Australian landscapes, a few generic travel posts, and carefully cultivated followers bought from a bot farm, but its real purpose was surveillance. Maya, this is getting intense, Alex said carefully. Maybe you should talk to someone, a therapist, or, I've been thinking about this for days. Maya interrupted. They didn't just steal my vacation, Alex. They stole my trust, my sense of safety, my belief that the people I love actually give a shit about me. And they did it so casually, so carelessly, like I was just a minor inconvenience in their love story. She pulled up her master plan document, a detailed timeline of actions she intended to take, complete with backup strategies and contingency plans. Sarah's whole brand is authentic. What happens when her followers discover that she stole her best friend's dream vacation while that friend was hospitalized? What happens when they realize that her spontaneous adventure was actually a premeditated betrayal? Alex was quiet for a long moment. And Jake's trying to break into high-end wedding photography. His reputation is everything. What happens when potential clients discover that he's the kind of person who abandons his girlfriend in the hospital to go on vacation with another woman, even if that woman is supposedly just a friend? Maya had spent hours crafting the perfect strategy. She wouldn't just expose them, she would dismantle the narratives they'd built about themselves. Sarah, the authentic friend who promoted loyalty above all else. Jake, the trustworthy artist who captured love stories for a living. I'm going to tell their story, Maya said, her fingers hovering over her laptop keyboard. The real story, not the sanitized version they're posting on Instagram. She'd already started gathering testimonials from other friends who'd been hurt by Sarah's self-centered behavior over the years. The time Sarah had ditched Maya's birthday party for a better Instagram opportunity. The way she'd ghosted their friend Emma when Emma's depression wasn't good for the vibe. The pattern of behavior that Maya had overlooked because she'd wanted to believe in their friendship. For Jake, she'd documented his history of flakiness and subtle manipulation. The way he'd always managed to make Maya feel guilty for prioritizing her career. His pattern of emotional unavailability that he disguised as being artistic and sensitive. They think they're so smart, Maya said, pulling up their latest posts from Sydney. Look at them, posting couple photos, tagging expensive restaurants, showing off the business class seats I paid for. They have no idea what's coming. Maya had created multiple social media accounts across different platforms, each with a specific purpose in her campaign. She'd researched the optimal times to post for maximum engagement, studied viral marketing techniques, and even consulted online communities about effective revenge strategies. The beautiful thing is that I don't have to lie about anything, she continued. I just have to tell the truth at the right time, to the right people in the right way. Everything they've done is documented, the timeline is clear, the evidence is overwhelming. Alex looked at the evidence spread across Maya's hospital bed, screenshots, printed emails, contact lists, strategic plans, and shook his head. This is going to destroy them. Maya met his eyes, her expression calm and determined. Good, they destroyed me first. The only difference is that I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who they really are. She opened her laptop and began typing the first post in what would become a viral series. Let me tell you about the day I crashed my car and my best friend and boyfriend decided to steal my dream vacation. Her finger hovered over the publish button. Once she pressed it, there would be no going back. Sarah and Jake were probably sipping wine at her Hunter Valley reservation right now, toasting their successful theft, completely unaware that their victim was about to become their worst nightmare. Maya smiled for the first time since the accident and pressed publish. The first post went live at 2:47 p.m. Pacific Time, precisely when Maya calculated her target demographic would be scrolling through social media during their lunch break. Within 6 hours it had 15,000 views and 47 comments. By the time Sarah and Jake were enjoying their stolen sunset dinner in Sydney, Maya's story had been shared 3,200 times. Holy shit, Alex said, refreshing his phone screen. It's everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram stories. People are pissed. Maya watched the metrics climb from her hospital bed with the satisfaction of a general watching enemy fortifications crumble. The story had struck a nerve. Everyone, it seemed, had experienced betrayal by someone they trusted, and Maya had given them the perfect target for their collective rage. Her phone buzzed with a panicked call from Sarah. Maya let it go to voicemail, then listened to the message with Alex. Maya, oh my God, what are you doing? People are sending me horrible messages. This is insane. We need to talk. Please call me back. Jake's message was more aggressive. This is fucked up, Maya. We were trying to help you by not letting the trip go to waste. You're making us look like monsters. Take it down. Trying to help me, Maya repeated, her voice dripping with contempt. By stealing my vacation while I was unconscious from a car accident. She didn't take anything down. Instead, she posted a follow-up with screenshots of their messages, highlighting Jake's claim that they were trying to help, and Sarah's panic about receiving horrible messages. Notice how neither of them actually apologized, Maya wrote. Jake thinks I'm making them look like monsters. Apparently the truth is monstrous when you're the one doing monstrous things. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Maya Gate began trending on Twitter. TikTok users started creating videos sharing their own betrayal stories. Instagram influencers began posting about the importance of real friendship, subtly throwing shade at Sarah's brand of performative authenticity. Maya's strategy was working exactly as planned. She'd researched viral marketing techniques and understood that the most effective campaigns weren't about the original story, they were about making people feel seen and validated in their own experiences. Her betrayal had become a symbol for everyone who'd ever been let down by someone they trusted. The corporate consequences came next. Maya had compiled a detailed report and sent it to each of Sarah's sponsors, complete with screenshots of the original betrayal posts and evidence of the timeline. The email was professional, factual, and devastating. I wanted to bring to your attention some concerning behavior by one of your brand ambassadors, Sarah Mitchell. Sarah lives authentic. As someone who works in marketing, I understand the importance of brand alignment and authentic representation. She attached documentation showing how Sarah had built her platform on messages of loyalty and friendship, while simultaneously betraying her hospitalized best friend. The contrast was stark and undeniable. Within 48 hours, two of Sarah's sponsors had quietly ended their partnerships. The meditation app posted a vague statement about reviewing all brand relationships to ensure they align with our values. The sustainable fashion brand simply removed Sarah's discount code from their website without explanation. Jake's professional destruction required a more nuanced approach. Maya created a series of anonymous Google reviews for Luminous Lens Studios, but she was careful to keep them factual and devastating rather than obviously fake. She highlighted his reliability issues and questionable personal character, supporting each claim with specific incidents that their mutual friends could verify. More effective was her strategic outreach to his potential wedding client. Maya had identified several couples who had inquired about Jake's services through his Instagram posts. She created a fake Gmail account and sent them a carefully crafted message. Hi, I came across your inquiry about Jake Martinez's photography services. I felt compelled to reach out as someone who knows him personally. While his technical skills are decent, I wanted to share some concerns about his character and reliability that might be relevant to your special day. She never lied. She simply shared the facts about his current behavior, abandoning his hospitalized girlfriend to vacation with another woman, using someone else's tragedy for his professional networking, and his callous response when confronted about it. She let the couples draw their own conclusions about whether they wanted someone with that character documenting their wedding day. The bookings started canceling. Jake's carefully planned networking in Australia meant nothing when his reputation was crumbling at home. Maya's TikTok series Betrayed While Broken had exploded across the platform. Each video focused on a different aspect of the betrayal, delivered with the perfect mix of vulnerability and righteous anger that social media algorithms love. The videos weren't just going viral, they were creating a movement. Young women were sharing their own stories of friendship betrayals. Mental health advocates were discussing the psychological impact of being abandoned during medical crises. Even relationship experts were weighing in on the toxic dynamic Maya had exposed. But the real masterstroke came when Maya discovered that Sarah and Jake had been documenting their entire Australia trip on their public social media account. Every restaurant, every location, every activity was timestamped and geotagged. Maya simply reshared their posts with her own commentary. While I was having emergency surgery for internal bleeding, they were at the Sydney Opera House. While I was learning to walk again with 3 broken ribs, they were wine tasting in Hunter Valley. While I was crying alone in a hospital bed, they were posting grateful for this spontaneous adventure on the beach I'd dreamed of visiting. The juxtaposition was powerful and heartbreaking. Their joy, captured in bright Instagram photos, contrasted sharply with Maya's pain and isolation. The timeline made their cruelty impossible to deny or rationalize. Sarah's follower count was hemorrhaging. She'd lost 200,000 followers in a week, and the comments on her posts had become a wasteland of criticism and betrayal stories. She tried damage control, posting a long defensive statement about misunderstandings and taking things out of context, but it only made things worse. Jake had gone completely silent on social media, but Maya knew from her surveillance accounts that he was seeing the consequences in real time. His business Instagram, which had been growing steadily, was now flooded with negative comments and lost followers. Maya's phone rang constantly, podcast requests, interview offers, brand partnership inquiries. She'd become an accidental influencer, her story resonating with millions of people who'd felt betrayed, abandoned, or taken advantage of by people they trust. But as she watched Sarah's latest post, a tearful Instagram story about cyberbullying and cancel culture, Maya felt something shift in her chest. Sarah looked genuinely broken, mascara streaming down her face as she begged her remaining followers to please just listen to my side. For just a moment, Maya wondered if she'd gone too far. Then she remembered the casual cruelty of Jake's text, "Our happiness comes first," and the feeling passed. They'd made their choice when they decided her pain was an acceptable price for their pleasure. Now they were learning that choices have consequences, and some betrayals leave scars that never heal. Maya's phone buzzed with a notification. Her latest TikTok had just hit 2 million views. She was just getting started. Sarah and Jake returned from Australia to a world on fire. Maya watched from her apartment. She'd been discharged the previous week as they landed at SeaTac Airport to find paparazzi waiting for them. Someone had leaked their flight information and local news stations were covering the Australia vacation scandal as if it were a political corruption case. The footage was brutal. Sarah, exhausted and makeup-free, trying to shield her face from cameras while Jake pushed through the crowd with barely contained rage. A reporter shouted questions about stealing from hospitalized friends as they fled toward the parking garage. Maya felt a dark satisfaction watching them experience the exposure and humiliation they'd inflicted on her. But it was just the beginning. The confrontation Maya had been orchestrating finally came to a head at Emma Thompson's housewarming party, a gathering Maya had specifically chosen because their entire mutual friend group would be there. She'd waited until Sarah and Jake had a chance to return home, deal with the immediate fallout, and attempt some damage control. She wanted them desperate and cornered. Maya arrived fashionably late, still moving carefully due to her healing ribs but looking polished and composed. The party chatter died as she entered the living room where Sarah and Jake stood near the kitchen island, surrounded by friends who were maintaining careful distances. Maya, Sarah's voice cracked. Her Instagram perfect appearance had been replaced by dark circles and brittle fragility. "We need to talk." "I think we're past talking," Maya replied, accepting a wine glass from Emma with a small smile. "But I'm happy to listen if you have something to say." The room was silent except for the soft background music, 20-some people frozen in anticipation of a confrontation that had been building for weeks across social media platforms. Jake stepped forward, his photographer's eye clearly assessing the room full of witnesses. "This has gone too far, Maya. You've destroyed our lives over a fucking vacation." "I haven't destroyed anything," Maya said calmly. "I simply told the truth about what you did. If that destroyed your lives, maybe you should examine the choices you made." "We were trying to help." Sarah's voice rose to near hysteria. "The trip was non-refundable. You couldn't go. You thought you could steal my dream vacation while I was unconscious in a hospital bed and face no consequences." Maya interrupted. "You thought wrong." The gathered friends were watching like spectators at a tennis match, phones discreetly recording despite the intimate setting. Maya was acutely aware that this confrontation would be online within hours, another chapter in the viral story she'd created. "You've cost me everything," Sarah continued, tears streaming down her face. "My career, my sponsorships, my reputation. People are sending me death threats." "Maya, death threats? Over a vacation?" "Not over a vacation," Maya corrected. "Over who you really are." "I just gave people the information they needed to see it clearly." Jake's composure finally snapped. "You vindictive bitch. You planned this whole thing, didn't you? The hospital room war room, the fake accounts, the coordinated attacks. You're fucking psychotic." The room erupted in shocked murmurs at his outburst, but Maya remained eerily calm. She'd been expecting this moment, had prepared for it. "Tell me, Jake," she said, her voice carrying easily across the silent room. "When exactly did you and Sarah decide to take my trip? Was it before or after you knew I'd need surgery?" Jake's face flushed red. "We didn't decide anything. It just happened. It just happened that you both had current passports ready to go. It just happened that you were able to transfer all my reservations. It just happened that you'd been discussing backup plans in your group chats for over a week." Maya pulled out her phone and began reading from screenshots she'd memorized. Quote from Sarah: 8 days before my accident, if Maya's work thing gets cancelled, we should totally use her Australia bookings. Quote from Jake: same conversation, she'd probably be fine with it. She's always talking about how experiences matter more than money. The silence in the room was deafening. Maya could see the calculation in several faces as friends reassessed everything they thought they knew about Sarah and Jake. "You planned to steal my vacation before I ever had the accident," Maya continued. "You were just waiting for an excuse. My near-death experience simply made it easier to justify." Sarah was sobbing now, ugly, desperate tears that bore no resemblance to her carefully curated Instagram breakdown. "I never meant, we never thought. You never thought I'd find out. You never thought I'd fight back. You never thought there would be consequences for treating someone you claimed to love like a disposable convenience." Emma stepped forward, clearly uncomfortable with the scene unfolding in her living room. "Maybe we should all take a step back." "No," Maya said, her voice cutting through Emma's diplomatic attempt at de-escalation. They don't get to avoid this conversation. They had it in whispered planning sessions and group chats behind my back. Now we're having it in public, where everyone can see exactly who they are. Jake's anger was escalating, his face red with humiliation and rage. You want to talk about who people really are? Let's talk about you, Maya. You turned a simple misunderstanding into a fucking witch hunt. You've become obsessed with destroying us. Look around this room. Half these people are scared of you now. You're not a victim anymore. You're a predator. The accusation hung in the air, and Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. She looked around the room and saw something she hadn't expected in her friends' faces. Not just support for her cause, but wariness of her methods. Fear of what she'd become capable of. She's right, whispered Ashley, one of their college friends. Maya, this has gotten really intense. The whole internet thing, the systematic campaign, it's kind of scary. Maya felt the room's energy shifting. The people she'd expected to celebrate her victory were instead looking at her with a mixture of sympathy and concern. She'd won the war, but she was realizing that victory looked different than she'd imagined. I documented everything they did, Maya said, but her voice lacked its earlier conviction. I didn't lie about anything. No, said David, another friend who'd been watching the confrontation with growing discomfort. But you turned their mistake into a public execution. You didn't just want justice, Maya, you wanted to watch them suffer. Sarah's sobs had quieted into hiccuping breaths. She looked at Maya with something that might have been pity. I'm sorry, she said. I'm truly sorry for what we did. It was selfish and cruel and wrong. But Ma, look what you've become. Look what this has turned you into. Maya felt the truth of it like a physical blow. She looked around the room at faces that had once shown her unconditional support, and now showed wariness, concern, even fear. She'd become so focused on destruction that she'd lost sight of healing, so consumed with making them pay that she'd forgotten what she'd actually wanted from this whole campaign. Jake and Sarah had indeed lost everything: their reputations, their careers, their social circle, their sense of safety in the world. But Maya realized with horrible clarity that she'd lost something too herself. The person who'd been lying in that hospital bed, betrayed and broken, wouldn't recognize the calculating destroyer she'd become. I think, Maya said quietly, her voice barely audible. I need to go home. She walked toward the door, the crowd parting silently before her. Behind her she could hear Sarah's renewed sobbing and Jake's angry muttering, but also the uncomfortable whispers of friends who were trying to process what they'd just witnessed. Maya had gotten her revenge. She'd exposed Sarah and Jake's true characters and made them face consequences for their betrayal. She'd won completely and decisively. So why did victory feel so much like defeat? Stage 6 Resolution and Aftermath. 6 months later, Maya sat in her therapist's office, staring at a photo on her phone that had appeared in her memories. It was from the Australia trip that never was. A screenshot she'd saved from her original itinerary, showing the Bondi Beach sunrise she'd planned to watch on her second morning there. How does seeing this make you feel now? Dr. Jennifer Reeves asked, her voice gentle but probing. Maya set the phone aside and considered the question. 6 months ago, that image had filled her with rage and loss. Now it just made her tired, empty. Maya said finally. It doesn't hurt anymore, but it doesn't make me happy either. It's just nothing. The aftermath of her revenge campaign had been swift and comprehensive. Sarah's influencer career was indeed over. She'd moved back to her parents' house in Portland, and was working at a local yoga studio, trying to rebuild her life away from social media. Jake had given up photography entirely, and was managing a restaurant in Tacoma, his artistic dreams as dead as his professional reputation. Maya had gotten everything she'd wanted. Their lives were destroyed. Their betrayal was public knowledge, and she'd become an accidental celebrity in the process. Her Betrayed While Broken series had led to a book deal, speaking engagements, and over 2 million followers across platforms. But success tasted like ash in her mouth. I've been thinking about something Sarah said that night, Maya continued. She asked me to look at what I'd become, and she was right. I became someone I don't recognize. Dr. Reeves nodded encouragingly. What do you think she meant? I became exactly like them, Maya said, the realization still painful months later. They used my pain for their gain, and I used their betrayal for mine. I turned my trauma into content, just like they turned my stolen vacation into Instagram posts. We're all the same. The therapy sessions had been recommended by Alex, who'd watched Maya's descent into obsession with growing concern. Even after the viral success, even after Sarah and Jake's complete destruction, Maya had felt hollow and directionless. The victory she'd thought would heal her had instead left her feeling more broken than before. I thought revenge would make me feel powerful, Maya said. Instead, it made me feel like I'd lost control completely. I couldn't, even when I could see they were suffering, even when I could see I was scaring my friends, I couldn't stop feeding the machine I'd created. She'd tried to continue her normal life after the confrontation, but everything felt different. Work colleagues treated her with a mixture of respect and wariness. Friends were supportive, but distant, uncertain about the person she'd become. Dating was impossible, everyone knew her story, and potential partners were either attracted to her newfound notoriety or terrified of ending up as her next viral target. The worst part, Maya continued, is that none of it brought back what I actually lost. It didn't heal my trust issues. It didn't give me back my sense of safety in relationships. It didn't even give me the Australia trip. All it did was prove that I could be just as cruel as they were. Dr. Reeves leaned forward slightly. You've mentioned several times that you feel you became just like them. Do you really believe that's true? Maya considered the question. It was something she'd wrestled with for months. No, she said slowly. Not exactly. What they did was impulsive and selfish. What I did was calculated and systematic. In some ways that makes it worse. She'd spent countless therapy sessions unpacking the psychology of revenge, understanding how her need for control after the accident had manifested in her campaign against Sarah and Jake. The car crash had made her feel powerless and vulnerable. The betrayal had amplified those feelings. The revenge had been her attempt to reclaim agency, but it had ultimately consumed her. I've been thinking about forgiveness, Maya said. Not for them, I'm not ready for that, and maybe I never will be, but for myself. She'd written letters to both Sarah and Jake that she'd never sent, processing her feelings, and attempting to find some kind of closure. The letters had evolved over months of therapy, from angry screeds to confused ramblings, to something approaching understanding. I can't undo what I did to them, Maya continued, just like they can't undo what they did to me, but I can choose what I do next. 2 weeks ago, Maya had made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. She'd posted a final video in her Betrayed While Broken series, a 30-minute piece about the psychology of revenge and its hollow nature. I got everything I wanted, she'd said to the camera, sitting in the same hospital room where it all began. I destroyed their lives, exposed their betrayal, and built a platform on their downfall, and I learned something important. Revenge is a poison you drink, hoping someone else will die. The video had gone viral in a different way than her others. Instead of rage and validation, it sparked conversations about forgiveness, healing, and the dangerous allure of public shaming. Mental health advocates shared it. Philosophy professors assigned it to their classes. It became required viewing in some digital ethics course, but more importantly, it had helped Maya begin to reclaim herself. I'm thinking about taking that Australia trip, Maya told Dr. Reeves. Not to reclaim what was stolen, but to create something new, to prove to myself that I can have experiences that aren't defined by anger or revenge. She'd been saving money and vacation time, planning a solo journey that would be entirely her own. Not the trip she'd originally planned with its careful itinerary and Instagram-worthy moments, but something spontaneous and healing. I want to be someone who can be hurt without becoming someone who hurts others, Maya said. I want to be someone who can be betrayed without betraying her own values in response. Dr. Reeves smiled. That sounds like growth. Maya nodded, feeling something she hadn't experienced in months. Hope, not the dark satisfaction of revenge, or the hollow triumph of victory, but genuine hope for who she might become. She still had 2 million followers waiting for her next move. She still received interview requests and brand partnership offers. The machine she'd built wanted to keep consuming content, keep feeding on drama and outrage. But Maya was done feeding it. She'd learned that the best revenge wasn't destruction or exposure or public humiliation. The best revenge was healing. The best revenge was refusing to let someone else's betrayal define who you become. The best revenge, Maya realized, was living well. She picked up her phone and opened her Instagram account. With steady fingers, she began typing her final post. Today I'm announcing that I'm stepping away from social media to focus on healing and growth. To everyone who supported me through my darkest time, thank you. To everyone who shared their own stories of betrayal and pain, you deserve peace and happiness. And to those I hurt in my quest for justice, I hope you find healing too. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose to stop fighting and start living. Maya hit publish, then turned off her phone. For the first time in months, the silence felt like freedom, rather than emptiness. 6 months ago, Sarah and Jake had stolen her dream vacation, but Maya had spent those months learning something more valuable than any trip could provide: who she wanted to be when tested by the worst humanity had to offer. She was finally ready to find out.